Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
We saw near record high temperatures this afternoon for the first Sunday of spring. As we take a look outside at the WRAL Weather Cam network, you see the sun shining across the whole region here. Thank you for joining us. I'm Eric Miller. People enjoyed this nice weather at Dix Park today. A lot of folks out there in that sunshine. Meteorologist Grant Skinner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with more. Grant, we've got one more day before the weather changes.
Yeah, warm tomorrow. Not quite as warm as today, but it'll still be warm tomorrow. We had 88 at RDU, 88 in Fayetteville. 88 in Fayetteville was tying the record there, and then we're just shy of the record at RDU. So very, very warm today. Still warm tomorrow, just not quite as warm. And then we finally cool down for the middle portion of this week. Here's a view from Raleigh today. Just beautiful out there. Just a few clouds, a bit of a breeze as well, but an increased fire threat because of that. A better chance to see an increased fire threat tomorrow with even breezier conditions. We'll talk more about that here in a bit. But still 85 in Raleigh. Southern Pines was just at 90 degrees, now at 88, 83 Rocky Mount, 84 Goldsboro, 87 in Clinton. So still very warm out there. We dropped to the low 70s by around 11 o'clock tonight, and we'll have some scatter cloud cover here and there. Warm tomorrow. We'll talk about how warm we'll get, then a few showers, let you know when to expect those, and how chilly we'll be by Tuesday morning. All that's coming up.
Grant, thank you. We're working more to learn more about this scene on Donnybrook Drive in Raleigh this afternoon. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker captured video of fire crews who appeared to be putting out a grass fire in that area. Due to wind and dry conditions, we're under a high fire risk today, according to the North Carolina State Climate Office. They say that risk increases heading into the work week.
Grace Holland here in the WRAL Live Center. We have a traffic alert for you. If you take a look at this is I-85, the northbound lanes near Hillsborough. You can see, looks like the first responders just cleared the scene, but you can see there's still a police car here. And over here, you can see there are quite some backups. If you're going to be heading through that area, just be prepared to sit for a second.
A good heads up, Grace. Thank you very much. Today, President Donald Trump is doubling down on threats to send ICE agents to airports during the ongoing partial government shutdown. The president says those agents will, quote, help TSA agents with security starting tomorrow. He says border czar Tom Homan will be in charge of the operation. Homan suggested the rollout of agents will start at large airports that have seen the largest wait times. He added they would cover security points but not provide help with baggage screenings. And here at home, RDU officials tell us things are operating as normal as talks of smaller airports closing and ongoing TSA shortages continue. That's where we find WRAL's Bailey Stamos here. Bailey, what are travelers saying here as they touch down in the Triangle?
Well, what we've heard from travelers heading back home to the Triangle today, they say while they're continuing to stay hesitant and getting to the airport early, they say all is well. We were able to catch a UNC student heading back home from a spring break trip in Los Angeles today. He says while his friends back home in Atlanta are seeing some delays, things went smoothly for his travel plans today.
I honestly didn't know about any of this stuff till I got to the airport because I was just like trying to make sure I woke up and got to the airport on time. But being from Atlanta, I always get up 3 hours early to go to the airport. So luckily for me, not a problem.
Again, we have reached out to RDU on if they've seen any changes within their TSA staff or if any ICE agents are expected to be at RDU anytime soon. They tell me everything is running normally and they are not dealing with the same delays some other airports are. And coming up today at 10 and 11, we'll hear more from travelers on how they expect this to impact their upcoming plans. Bailey Stamos, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Bailey, thank you. The Robeson County Sheriff's Office says multiple people were found dead this morning. It happened in the area of Melinda Road outside of Pembroke. The Robeson County Sheriff's Office didn't say exactly where those bodies were found. Video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker shows an active scene in that area today. Deputies, criminal investigation detectives, and crime scene investigators all on that scene working to figure out what happened. The Sheriff's Office has not said how many people were found dead. The victims have also not been identified at this time, and there is no word on any suspect or suspects. We're working to learn more, and we'll update you both on air and online. An overnight shooting at a nightclub in Raleigh left 2 men with life-threatening injuries. It happened inside the Patio nightclub on New Bern Avenue. Police say the men were taken to the hospital. Raleigh police say no arrests have been made, working to learn what led up to this shooting. The Guthrie family is once again asking the Tucson, Arizona community for help. Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, was last seen January 31st. The 84-year-old is believed to have been kidnapped from her home. In a post on social media today, Savannah Guthrie asked people who live in that area to search their memories around the time of Nancy's disappearance. The post reads in part, "We miss our mom with every breath, and we cannot be in peace until she's home." The family previously announced a $1 million reward for information leading to their mother's recovery. New here at 6, Iran's military vowed to close the Strait of Hormuz indefinitely if the U.S. follows through on President Donald Trump's threat to bomb power plants. Iran said if the country's energy infrastructure was targeted, the critical waterway would not be reopened until the sites damaged or destroyed are rebuilt. It also said all Israeli energy and communications infrastructure would be targeted, as well as similar companies in the region with U.S. shareholders. As the war drags on, let's take a look at those gas prices here today. In Raleigh, an average gallon of gas will cost you $3.74. That's up 98 cents over last month. Charlotte now has some of the most expensive gas in North Carolina, $3.77 a gallon. And if you're enjoying the first spring in the mountains, gas in Asheville going to cost you a little bit less, $3.62. You can find the lowest gas prices in your area with the WRAL fuel tracker. Just open the app and search fuel. Well, that rising cost of fuel is weighing heavily on farmers, both in North Carolina and across the country. From running farm equipment to transporting produce, farmers rely on diesel fuel to make a living. WRAL's Kirsten Clark went to the state farmers market to hear firsthand how they're dealing with those challenges.
Farming is in Sandra Garner's blood.
Farmers been in my family since 1746, and I've been coming here right at 23 years.
Her freezers full of beef, pork, chicken, and lamb are a hit. But now the war in Iran is causing her livelihood to take a hit.
Coming to the market, we're at Snow Hill, about 75 miles one way, so it is very expensive. And then your electricity, your heat, if you've noticed even your natural gas, I heat with natural gas. Everything's just gone up tremendously.
Garner says she's seen a big difference in the cost to transport the meat from Snow Hill to Raleigh. She drives a van that gets 16 miles to the gallon, and her daughter drives a diesel truck.
She said it was way over $100 to get a quarter of a tank of diesel in there.
How tough is that for you?
It's gotten very, very tough lately because, people don't have but so much money to spend.
Though their products are different, Judy Montague says she and her husband are feeling the impact just the same.
My husband has a diesel truck, and diesel fuel is now $5 a gallon, so that it does hurt.
I asked Montague and Garner how they'll be able to sustain business at the farmers market if oil prices continue to soar.
You cut back on other things if you want to continue doing this.
I've seen diesel very high, much higher than what it is right now. So, I've made it through all the years. We're trying to hold the prices down to what they've been for the last year or two, and it's difficult.
And even if she raises her prices, Garner says it would not make up the difference. That can only come from change in the Middle East. In Raleigh, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
And the war on Iran has also caused fertilizer prices to soar. In the U.S., nitrogen fertilizer has increased more than 30% since the Strait of Hormuz closed. We could learn UNC head basketball coach Hubert Davis's future as soon as this week. UNC officials said today they're still evaluating the men's basketball program and Davis's status, and a public decision is not imminent. But a decision could come in the next few days. Davis is a former UNC player and assistant coach who was Roy Williams' hand-picked successor. His future has been called into question after the 6-seeded Tar Heels blew a 19-point lead against number 11 VCU in Thursday's first-round NCAA tournament game in Greenville. That was the third consecutive loss by UNC to end the season, and it renewed concerns about the program meeting its historical standards. On a side note, just in the last few minutes, we've learned that Hubert Davis Live has been postponed. That's, of course, Hubert Davis's radio show. That season finale had been set for tomorrow. Well, Well, the Duke Blue Devils advance to the Sweet 16. They'll play the winner of the game between St. John's and Kansas, underway right now. It'll either be held Thursday or Friday in Washington, D.C., and the WRAL sports team will have live coverage when it happens. Well, still ahead, brackets busted. Coming up, we look at how many perfect brackets remain for the NCAA men's basketball tournament and how many will be left after the St. John's Kansas matchup. Plus, improving your experience. What changes the town of Cary is making to a couple of popular greenways. Now here are Renee Chu and Chris Lovingood with a look at what we're working on for tomorrow morning.
Elizabeth will be tracking a cooler trend for the first part of our work week, and Ken will have your traffic every 10 minutes.
Plus, phony recall notices. 5 of your site shares how to know what's real and what's fake when it comes to popular products in your home.
Join us tomorrow beginning at 4:30 a.m.
Welcome back. Taking a live look there over downtown Cary Park. A beautiful day underway. You see the sun shining through all of that bright spring green. Meteorologist Grant Skinner will have another check of that forecast, let you know how nice things are going to stay for our week ahead. Well, people taking advantage of the weather may have noticed something new on those Cary greenways. 2 initiatives launched this month that the town says are making the greenways safer and a little bit more fun out there. The town is adding artistic centerline striping in key locations along the Black Creek and White Oak greenways now through mid-April. 10 new eco counters are also being installed along heavily used greenways. The counters will help the town understand how residents and visitors are using the trail system. All right, right now the NCAA says only 3 perfect men's basketball tournament brackets remain. St. John's and Kansas are playing right now. If the Jayhawks advance, only 2 will be left. If the Red Storm wins, there'll be only 1 perfect bracket left. Just unbelievable. North Carolinians have bet more than $13 billion through legal online sports books in the past 2 years. Now, there are ways to bet not just on sports, but global events, elections, even television shows. America's betting boom is well underway.
You can bet on the most wild things these days. And you got Kalshi and Polymarket, where you can bet on if the sky's going to be blue and if Donald Trump's going to burp today. And there's $200 million in the pool.
Now, what does this explosion of options mean for all of us? Watch our new documentary, The Gamble, on WRAL.com, the WRAL News app, and connected TV apps, or the WRAL YouTube page. We explore how we got here and what's coming next. You can read about the betting boom on WRAL.com. Well, heads up for drivers out there. A ramp closure in Garner starts tomorrow. DOT contractors will shut down the ramp from US 70 East to NC 50 for a little bit of bridge work. That starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The closure will likely be in place for 3 weeks. Drivers should expect delays as they follow posted detours. And as always, be extra cautious when driving in those work zones, especially when you've got workers present. All right, turning back to our forecast now, Grant, we've gone from that high sky cam to this lower look at downtown Raleigh. Yep. But even still, you can see that haze of pollen in the air. It is crazy out there right now.
A noticeable difference, I think, this weekend, especially on the cars. You can see the yellow building up on there. I know we had our fellows here, past couple of days. They're drawing some stuff on the windows.
Oh my gosh! Like, I tried working outside. Literally, I had to wipe down my screens every 2 minutes today. It's North Carolina. What can you do?
It's tough. Lots of sneezes ahead in the coming months. And we'll stay warm this week for part of it. We do have a cool down on the way for Tuesday and really the middle of this week, but more warmth ahead for the end of the week, and we'll talk about how we get there. But the first thing I want to mention is Monday. We do have dry and breezy conditions behind the front that passes, and that could lead to an increased fire danger once again tomorrow, actually a more elevated risk than what we've seen today. And then a few showers are possible ahead of that cold front. It's not going to be a big rain chance, but just a few showers. Then we'll see the cooler air, so a bit more comfortable by Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. Here's the front, our next weather maker. It passes on Monday. A few showers possible on Monday, but again, a few showers. Not a big rain chance, just a few. Then turning colder by Tuesday behind the front as high pressure builds in. That drier and colder air sinks into the region. So through this evening, we'll have just a few clouds out there, not a whole lot of cloud cover. By tomorrow morning, we could see partly cloudy skies, other spots mostly clear. And then by the afternoon tomorrow, a couple of showers pop up ahead of that front, but it's really not going to be a big rain chance. chance. Just some cloud cover with it mainly. And the majority of them will be to our south and east, closer to like the coastline into tomorrow evening. Now, once that system moves out, we'll have clear skies by Tuesday morning, but that colder and drier air quickly moves in, so much chillier Tuesday morning, and we'll talk about those lows in a second. But I wanted to help you understand why we'll see that increased fire risk. So lower humidity tomorrow once that front passes, and by the afternoon we'll see stronger wind gusts. This is 8 a.m., not too breezy, only gusts around 10 to 15. Then after lunchtime, closer to 3, 4 o'clock, we see the gusts pick up, could get higher, as high as 20 to 25 miles per hour. It's because of that breeze plus the low humidity that we'll see an increased fire danger, especially during the back half of the day tomorrow. This was outlined by the Storm Prediction Center. The Storm Prediction Center, based in Norman, Oklahoma, that puts up the severe risks that we see. They also put out the fire danger, and they have this area outlined that covers almost our entire area and back towards the Triad as well for 3 o'clock through 10 p.m. Monday. It'll be that primary time to see the increased fire danger tomorrow, so please refrain from burning. But again, cooler once the front passes. This is Tuesday morning, 40 in Raleigh, 36 in Roxborough, 44 Fayetteville, and even chillier by the time we hit Wednesday morning. Beautiful blue skies right now, though. It's a great view from Raleigh right now. Temperature still in the low to mid 80s, upper 80s for some. It's very, very warm out there, but we will see that cool down by Tuesday. So if you need a break from the warmth for a second, we've got that for Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. Again, lows even colder Wednesday morning. Then we're back to 80 degrees by Friday. And then, yeah, the roller coaster will only continue for the weekend. We drop to the 60s Saturday and Sunday. This is that springtime weather. You know, we got these fronts coming through, kind of just varies our temperatures over the next 7 days.
Yeah, you could really see that on that map there, Grant. Thank you very much. Well, Duke is on to the Sweet 16. Coming up, Pat Welter and Chris Lee break down the game and Duke's chances of advancing to the Elite Eight. And if you see breaking news, have a story tip, or shoot video or pictures of our weather, please report it to us. Go to WRAL.com/report it to send your video, pictures, or tip to our news team. We'll be right back. All right, Duke is headed to the Sweet 16, but not without some drama. Pat Welter and Chris Lee break down last night's win over TCU and give their takeaways from the Blue Devils opening weekend.
Well, Duke is moving on to the Sweet 16. They're heading to Washington, D.C. next week, thanks to an 81-58 win over TCU. I'm Chris Lee. That is Pat Welter here in Greenville, South Carolina. And boy, the Blue Devils are happy they're getting to that Sweet 16. Also happy to have Pat Gongwa back.
You just watch Duke on the floor, and things just look right when he's out there. It slots Cam Bruiser back to the 4. And all of a sudden, the whole team looks bigger, right, when he's out there.
I think just having him on his presence, obviously defensively, and on the offensive side, just it gives us a different look that we haven't had in these last, I think, 4 or 5 games. So just having him back is really huge for us.
You may look at the game and see the box score and say, 4 points, 4 rebounds, is that really that big of a deal? Well, he was also plus 20 on the plus minus. He impacted how TCU operated in the paint, and that was big.
He's our third leading scorer, so obviously it's tough to have him out. Same thing with C-Foss, but obviously just having that paint presence, especially on the defensive end, the rim protection, the rebounding. I mean, the passing. I mean, him and Malik having that tandem, I think it just makes our team so incredible.
You walk away from this game, Chris, feeling like Duke got the groove back.
For sure.
But in that first half, you're watching, you're like, man, they can't create separation again, even with Gongba out there. So how do you leave it? Are you concerned about where they are going forward, given what we've seen through 2 games, or do you feel like they did get their groove back?
I felt like they got their groove back, and here's what I'll point to. At a certain point, I want to say it was maybe halfway through the second half, with all the turnovers they had, it was live ball turnovers, which Duke doesn't normally do that. And then they spotted TCU at one point, 15 points off of turnovers halfway through the second half. You clean that up in the next game, you're probably still ahead by a lot more than what you were at certain points of the game.
So I thought there were some incredible lessons there, for me, for our staff, for our program, but most importantly for our players.
What Shire and his staff have done so good is adjust and point the right buttons and push the right buttons and call the right timeouts.
For sure.
I thought that timeout when they got down 40-38 early in the second half, 6-0 run from TCU was the inflection points that John Shire loves to talk about. And Caden Boozer told us that Shire straight up called out the team in the timeout.
Obviously, we used that, and we came together in that moment. We didn't go away, which is something that we've done all year. It's just coming together in moments that it gets hard, and we were able to create separation after that.
It feels like a refrain we've heard so many times in the locker room this season. lock down on defense, but it's what they did, and it just kind of snowballs the rest of it. They locked down on defense, creates better shots on offense, and next thing you know, they were up 20 and the ball game was over.
Our thanks to Pat and Chris there. Well, the dance is officially over for the NC State women tonight. This afternoon, Michigan crushed the Wolfpack 92-63 in Ann Arbor. The 7th-seeded NC State team was without all ACC guard Zoe Brooks, who had a protective boot on her right foot after being injured in Friday night's win against Tennessee. That hurt against Michigan's swarming and trapping defense that forced 22 turnovers, including 10 in the third quarter alone, helping the Wolverines take a 16-point lead into the fourth after a closely contested first half. UNC advanced to a second straight women's Sweet 16 with a 74-66 win over Maryland this afternoon. Carolina will play the winner of number 1 UConn versus number 9 Syracuse in the Sweet 16, which begins Friday. The Tar Heels advance to that round for the 20th time. Well, thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.